Hello and welcome to Mari's Golden Hour. I'm just going to get right into it. It has been a heck of a day, and it just seems to keep on continuing. So, this morning there was a squirrel that was perched up on the top of a roof next door, and I thought I heard something. Prior to me noticing the squirrel, I thought I heard something weird. I can't even remember what it was, but it caused me to look over and outside, and that's when I noticed the squirrel perched up on the roof, who was, dare I say, I felt like he was just like a peeping Tom. And I was in kind of a compromising position and quite vulnerable, and with barely any clothing on, and I felt like leaning back just so the squirrel wouldn't see me, and I realized how stupid that was. But I still felt like I was violated in some way, and I know it's weird. I know it's completely weird, but that's how I felt. And I've only experienced that with an animal one other time. No, not just one time, but it's one animal, but on many different occasions, where that animal just made me feel like very dirty, and I had to take a shower. But the owner of said animal is a dear friend, and so it's something that I have to endure. But it's like, who wants to endure having to be around their attacker? So anyway, so yeah, the squirrel was on the roof and stayed there for quite some time. And I just felt like I was being spied upon by the squirrel, who would not go away. So then I gather up my things so I can head on out, and I think it might be the same squirrel from the roof. And if it wasn't the same squirrel, basically I saw the squirrel out in the yard, and it was among all these other birds. I think it was like eating bird seed or eating, because there was like a lot of birds out there, so somebody had to have thrown something out on the lawn. And the birds scattered, but the squirrel did not. And I'm wondering if it's either the squirrel that's from the roof, or if it's the squirrel that I've encountered before, that anytime I like walk out the door, or I'm either coming or going, the squirrel is sort of like a bully on the sidewalk. It's like it doesn't move. It will just stay there and stare me down. And I'm like, move. And I like tell it to shoo. I try to make a loud noise. I like make movements. And basically I end up coming off looking like I'm crazy to anybody else that's driving around. But, yeah, it's like a thug. This squirrel is a thug, and I believe it resides in the tree that's just right in front. So you know what? Could be the same squirrel, or it's like a bully squirrel family, or family of squirrel terrorists. Either like they spy on me, or they just want to bully me into giving them food. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm tired of it. So, but that was this morning. And then, just now, to be fair, it was like maybe, I'd say about an hour ago. And basically it's like broad daylight. And I got a knock on my door, and it was an annoying knock. And I thought, all right, well, maybe it's mistaken, or it's somebody selling something. But it was insistent, and it kept on doing it. So I'm like, fine. And I happened to see that it was one of my neighbors, and they were so insistent. It was an emergency, and I didn't even think about my mask. But I opened the door; they're not wearing a mask, and I'm like, fuck, great. Sorry to curse, but that's how I was feeling. And basically, to make this short, the neighbor like completely flipped out on me. And I didn't catch everything or the why or what was happening, but he was like spazzing out, and he wanted me to turn off my fan. And I said, all right, okay, yeah, I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off. And I basically had to say it in a way as if like for anybody who was like jumping off a ledge or a bridge or threatening to do harm to themselves. And, like, I had to talk to him in that manner because, like, that's the behavior he was displaying. It was the weirdest exchange. And so, I turn off the fan. Now, mind you, this is the exhaust fan for the stove. And I'm cooking. And I turn it on briefly just to, like, soak up the little bit of steam that was coming out. And, I also have, I don't want to say a temperamental smoke alarm, but I live in an easy bake oven, and when it gets hot and I have things going, it's like, oh, we cannot handle this, and the alarm goes off. So I was turning on all fans and the AC, and I turned on the exhaust just to, like, have an extra precaution so it wouldn't be able to emit any sort of anything to the smoke alarm. And I had it on, like, I'd say maybe 30 seconds to a minute max, and that's when I got the annoying knock. Like, I didn't even have a chance to, like, turn it on to, like, air it out and then turn it off, because I didn't plan on keeping it on long, because it is pretty loud and it's annoying, but it's the exhaust fan. What am I going to do? And so yeah, that happened, and I turned it off, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, number one, it is broad daylight, like the sun is out and shining. It's one thing if I happen to, I don't know, decide that I wanted to bang pots around and be super loud between, like, 11 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning, or just during hours when people are typically sleeping. But that was not the case. Again, broad daylight. And not to mention, and I know I'm not the only person that lives in a neighborhood where you have people in the area that tend to be loud. Either they're playing loud music, or they're drag racing, or fireworks are going off. I know, if you live in the suburbs, you really don't have to deal with it as much. But so anyway, so that happened, and I found myself, like, just annoyed because that happened. Like, that disturbed my peace and tranquility. And, I think it was, like, rattling things in his space, but which I even still, like, I can't figure out, like, unless he, like, has a glass menagerie that he built along the wall. I don't see what effect the exhaust fan would have in his space. I don't know, but like I said, the whole thing was just weird. And I don't know, I mean, this is the first time it's happened. I've used that particular fan before, and at different times of the day, different days of the week. Not all the time, but just, whenever it's needed, and there haven't been any complaints. So, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to, like, flip out, like, if I decide that I need to flush the toilet when it's, like, again, the sun is shining, but it's like, it's a toilet. You need to flush it. I don't know. That is perplexing and annoying, and it's just all part of my day. And I don't know, I mean, and of course right now, the other neighbor is having sex, so it's like, you know what? They're having sex, it's loud, and it's disturbing me, but you don't see me going upstairs and telling them to, like, keep it down and cut it out. Ugh, jeez. But, yeah, so let's see. Bully squirrels, flipped out neighbors at spas. Oh, I think I recall an old building manager mentioning something about bipolar meds, and I don't know, maybe he's bipolar and he didn't take his medication, so the least little thing, like, flips him out. Regardless, it's like, get a handle on that. Like, that's just, I don't know, it was completely uncalled for and just ruined my zen. So, let's see, what happened? I think Memorial Day, I think I already mentioned that. Memorial Day, my birthday, I believe I talked about already. And then Memorial Day itself, I was sort of recovering from my birthday on Memorial Day, which was Sunday, and driving down to San Diego and being with family. And but yeah, that day I spent like just kind of making sure I took care of all the birthday freebies, and which actually those are still coming. I know I still have like a coffee thing, and I met up with a friend, socially distanced, and did a bit of an exchange, and I was given a birthday present, which it was really nice. It was really fun, and it meant a lot. So yeah, the hits still keep on coming, so that's fun. And what else? Dealing with maintenance things, which that I've been dealing with for I think the past couple weeks, maybe a little bit more than that. So that has the home life upended a bit. And the last one was dealing with a reglazing. And there's still more plumbing that needs to be done. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, or maybe I am. I don't know. But my concern... So basically, there's plumbing that needs to be done. And then there was reglazing. And that reglaze happened from other maintenance stuff that supposedly got fixed, which it was, but then it wasn't, or a poor job was done, and that messed up the glazing that had already existed. So that's why the reglazing ended up happening. But then now plumbing is going to take place, and I'm thinking, like, shouldn't the plumbing have happened before the reglazing? Like, to me, that would have made sense. And so now I have to be concerned about the plumbing messing up the reglazing. So anyway, I also went in, sorry for the loud smack. I didn't realize how loud that was. I went in for an oil change during the week, and it was overdue. Not by a lot, but enough for my comfort, but it wasn't anything crazy. And so I went in, and I swear, I only went in just for the oil change. Maybe I had to get an air filter, but, that was the only other thing I expected to have happen. And then, next thing I know, it's like it turned into like being at the 99-cent store, where you go in and you only mean to get one thing. Spend money on just one thing. Then you end up walking out having spent like $20 or $40. Well, going in for all the car stuff, that's what this turned out to be. And it was only, there was like more numbers and a zero added. And I swear, and it's stuff that, yes, I need and needed, and I'm sure I could have gone someplace else that would have been cheaper, but I just didn't want to go in, and I still had to wait and be inconvenienced when I went in, and then to have to go someplace else and deal with, making the appointment, waiting around, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. And only to save a little bit more money. Now, how much more money? I'm not too sure. And because I've already spent the money, it makes no sense for me to even try to find out, because that'll just make me annoyed with myself for spending the money that I did where I went. So, but yeah, that day, you know what? Yeah, just, it seemed like each day, or if not the majority of the days, there was always something. I couldn't just like go in, just have like a normal, regular day. So that's what this week was about. So I go in for the supposed oil change only. And I was given a ride, and they offer a ride, but it has to be within 5 miles. And I'm thinking, for as much money as I'm spending, they can drop me off at where I want. I understand that they don't want people taking advantage and like driving them like, clear to the other side of town or in another county. I understand that, but it's like 5 miles is not very much. So, I get the text saying that your driver is going to be there, and this is with, I'm not going to mention companies. So, but it is with a company that offers rides. So I receive a text that says that your driver's going to be there in 13 minutes. And I thought, okay, really? Like, there aren't any closer rides at all anywhere? And so I wait the 13 minutes, and of course extra, because it never shows up on time. And I've had this done before when I've dropped off my car at this place, and for whatever reason, it always seems to take like 13 minutes. So anyway, more minutes pass, and then I get a text saying, "Oh, you're canceled. Your driver has canceled." And then I have to wait a little bit longer for another text to come in to say, "We are working on getting you another driver." And then I wait a little bit longer, and then I get a text saying, "Oh, your driver Abdul will be there in 12 minutes." And so basically, this will have been well over 30 minutes that I have waited for a 13-minute ride. And so Abdul pulls up, and I say hello, and I'm nice and chipper, and he doesn't say anything back. And I thought, all right. I mean, I get not being chatty, perfectly fine with that, but I don't know, when somebody says hello, and it's not like he's in a crowded space and confused my hello or my hello to him with somebody else. I specifically said hello and good morning to him. So anyway, he was just stone cold silent the whole entire time. And then I just busied myself with my phone, and I heard the navigation saying that turn right at blah blah blah, and I looked up and I'm like, wait a minute, we're not going the right way. And I let him know that, and he said, oh, well, the address is blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, no, the address that I provided was blah 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 blah. So he's annoyed now. If he wasn't already like annoyed with me for whatever reason, he's even more so now. And I don't understand like what I don't know, he's very standoffish. And then I don't know, I was also picking up on the rudeness, and I didn't know why. And it's like, well, I don't know, like, his name is Abdul. I don't want to make assumptions about what his beliefs are, but I don't know if his beliefs are just not liking women or respecting black women, even though he's black. Is he from Africa? Is he, because there's all the stigmatisms and cultural isms that come along with that, and I'm not stereotyping, but it's just experiences that I'm drawing from that I have personally encountered and experienced or witnessed. So I don't know what the disrespect was about, but anyway. Oh, and the other thing that I thought was weird is that the navigation said Mari's destination will be up ahead on the right, which I thought that was weird. Like, number one, that the thing knew my name, and then on top of it, pronounced it correctly. Like, that was just like, oof, the machines are taking over. So I got dropped off, and had time to do some stuff before my vehicle would be ready. And then I get a call that I missed saying that my car would be ready in 5 minutes. Basically, he said roughly what time that was, and it was 5 minutes before that supposed time. And so then I'm like scrambling so I can get a ride back there, and just wasted all kinds of time. Number one, by like checking that message, and then I don't know, it was just a hectic morning. So I was able to get a driver, and at this point I'm beginning to run late for work, and I got a driver, and he's very nice and very pleasant, but he was driving slow, and like I'm talking like a cautious grandpa driver slow, and which was fine. But I think what set me off is that the seat belt, like, it wouldn't just go into the little slot. It's like I had to slide it in like a particular way. Like, it couldn't be twisted. I couldn't slide it into the one that's for the middle seat. It had to be like that specific one and going in the right direction. And it was just frustrating me because I guess I was like trying to insert it into the one for the middle seat because they were just so close together. And so then the driver, seeing, hearing, or sensing that I was having an issue with the seatbelt, was like, "Oh, you need to put your seatbelt on." I'm like, "Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm trying to do." And he like pulled over to stop. I guess it was just so I could like put on my seatbelt. I'm like, "What are you doing? Go!" And I like, I feel bad about it, but I snapped at him because number one, he was already driving slow, and they'd already like passed like the better street to take that wouldn't take as long. They didn't have as many lights and just not as many inconveniences. And so I was just a little frustrated, but he like pulled over to stop, which wasted time. And I had already mentioned, even like when he first picked me up, I was like, "Oh, hey, thank you so much for picking me up. I'm running late for work, and good morning," or whatever. I was pleasant. But I still let him know, chop chop. So, but, anyway, so that happened. I did make it to my destination, and of course, even when I get there, they didn't have my car. They said, "Oh, it'll be a few minutes before we pull it up." I'm like, no, now, like, I'm paying all this money. Why can't my car just be here? Or, like, it should not take a few minutes to get my car. Like, that's just, it was frustrating. So that was my week. Did anything else crazy happen? Not that I can think of. I'm sure maybe something will come to me, but no. Yeah, that overall that was it. It was like having the handy dudes in throughout the week, and the reglazing, and just I like everything is just sort of like upended and put on hold, and I feel like I can't really truly move forward until all this stuff is taken care of, and then we can go. But anyway, making do with what I got. What did I come across this week? I did see, and I'm sure this is old news, because I saw this, I think, Tuesday morning, that I read where the organizer for this Memorial Day event cut off the mic of a veteran who, like, when he started talking about the role of black people and the role that black people played in the Memorial Day origins, that's when, like, when he started, like, within on that discussion, that's when his mic got cut. And this took place in Hudson, Ohio. I think Hudson, Ohio, that's like, it's, I think, north of Akron, or like, I don't know, like just or heading towards, it's like south, heading towards Akron, I believe. Now I can't remember exactly where it is, but it's like south, southeast? Yeah, I think that's about right. And, let's see, and what else? And more news in Ohio. So apparently, I think a celeb, I don't know if he was a teen at the time or like a child actor who's now grown up, but apparently, well, he did kid TV for a large network that had a lot of kid TV. And apparently, he was arrested in Cleveland on attempted endangerment of a minor. So, yikes. And anything else with Ohio? Nothing much, and actually nothing yet, but there will be. What else did come? I can't remember how I heard about this, but it's a beauty line called Cheekbone. I think the company's called Cheekbone Beauty, like cheeks, like your cheekbone, of bone of your cheeks. And basically, it's indigenous owned and founded, and it's a company that's in Canada. And I think they started in 2016. And what I like about it, it has like a range of different complexions, and it's cruelty free, and they have a line that's called Sustain, that they produce less waste lipsticks, and I think they started that last year, sometime in 2020, and then they also have zero waste goals for 2023. So, which I like that. And also, when taking a look at the lipstick, so it has paper tubing and with a plastic sheath for the product. So, and it looks like what you do is you're able to, like, once you use all of the lipstick, you can dispose of both things in recycling. So everything about the lipstick is recyclable. And I mean, well, I guess with the exception of the lipstick, but I'm thinking that the idea is to use the lipstick until it's gone. At least that's what I do. And then they also, so they provide donations that address the educational funding gap. I don't know if it's for all children or if it's for indigenous youth. Regardless, I like their ideals as a company, and they're all about community and giving back and uplifting the indigenous kids, and also just to help them feel represented and seen. And and the other thing that I thought was cool is that also their shades are named after the earth or land, or the earth and land in some sort of way, and the names are in any one of the over 7,000 indigenous languages. So I thought that was cool. So check out Cheekbone Beauty and check it out, purchase it, give it away as a gift. And some of their things are sold out, but I know that they do have some sales on it. Doesn't seem like it's a hugely wide array of things, but it looks like they do have a pretty decent range of shades for their lipsticks, and it's like lipsticks and blushes, and there's some brow pencils there as well, but and eyeliner, but it's not like complete top to bottom skincare. So, but still, I don't know. I like it as a company, and it seems like it's a young company. So, who knows what's in store later on down the road. Let's see. I know I talked about the maintenance guys. What has been cool is that there have been some of these maintenance dudes have been attractive handymen that have been coming around, and I swear, like, my thirsty self has been into it, and I am not crazy thirsty. I'm just like thirsty light. It's like, oh, you look nice. But it's been nice to be around dudes who can fix stuff. I always appreciative of that, even though they might be dudes who might not be too clean, or always have a layer of dirt, or they don't consider stuff whenever they're messing up, and they're not necessarily tidy. But overall, they are good dudes. And like I said, I will be happy when all of this is fixed and I can relax and move on. And I don't know, hopefully next week things will not be any more of at a standstill. Or maybe I have like another week to go after this. I'm not too sure. Things are still up in the air. So let's see, with that, I'll go ahead and wrap things up and give you the music that has been on my radar the past week, or that piqued my interest in some way, or had some interesting little anecdote or something. Let's see. So here we go for Mari's recommended music by Mari. Alright, I gotta work on that intro song. So, this one is not new at all. Actually, a lot of these are not new, and you've likely heard them before. But, like I said, these are ones that just popped on my radar, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I remember loving this song. Or it's something new to my ears, and it's an old song. But anyway, get your freak on, Missy Elliott. I don't think I need to explain any of that, but I know that, I think when, I can't remember which Super Bowl it was when, she came out. Who was performing that year? I can't remember, but all I remember is I was at a party. I think it was like one of those like pool barbecue parties, and I heard Missy Elliott come on. Sorry, I was trying to say come out and come on. It was like come on, come on, put the beat down. Anyway, Missy Elliott came out. I heard like that opening, the sounds of "Get Your Freak On," and I, along with a bunch of other people who were watching the game poolside with the huge screen TV, just like lost our minds. We were just like living and loving it. Oh my gosh. It was such a moment because Missy hadn't been on the scene in like ages, but the music that she did and basically the work between her and Timbaland, it's like it was ahead of its time, I feel, at the time. And even now, listening to her music today, it is still ahead of time. It's on time, ahead of time, and it is still banging, like hard. So, Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak On, among many, 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 many other songs. All Right. Oh yeah, All Right with by Jamiroquai. That, man, Jamiroquai, I was introduced to them when I was hanging out with these guys. They had like it was like a very cool house of guys that I knew from college. Actually, yeah, well, from college, but also one or two of the guys were also part of the music department, so that's how I knew them. But this was like I was hanging out with them at this house like after I graduated, and I don't know if they were working on going to grad school, or if they had just graduated and then they're like, let's get a house. But that it was a very cool house because it was primarily musicians along with like foreign study student. I just remember there was this guy from Belize who lived with them, and he was really flipping cool. And anytime I went over there, there was always really good music playing. And it just, the vibe kind of reminded me of like party times in Ibiza, you know, just that like, oh, there was this show. It was this show like on MTV like a long time ago, and I think Brooke Burke used to host it. And she would just go to like all these like wild party places all across the globe and like hang out and show what the fun life was about, like from early in the morning until late at night, and just like the fun stuff to do throughout the day. And I thought that was just the coolest job, of course, but just so like, yeah, I'm about that. And I was fortunate to like have a skosh of that to some extent, but stories for another time. Anyway, so Jamiroquai, these guys that were in this fun house turned me on to Jamiroquai because I remember that playing when I went over there just to hang out for something. I can't remember, like it wasn't like a big party at the time. It was just like, hey, let's hang out. And Jamiroquai was playing on their sound system. They had a good sound system, so it was just nice. I was into to be submerged in that sound. Ooh, heaven. Okay, Hope by Arlo Parks. And Arlo Parks, I know I've mentioned her before. This is her, I believe her second song off her debut album, or at least the second song that I've heard of hers. Another one that she came out with, I think it got released, I'm trying to remember if it was during this past winter or earlier in the fall, but it's also another good song. Arlo Parks, I really like her as an artist, and so far just really good music I'm hearing from her. Let's see, Isn't It a Pity, George Harrison. That one I think I heard over the weekend. It just, if I remember it correctly, it just has like a really nice sound to it. Just like a lot of minor chords played in it, if I remember right. If I Fell by the Beatles. I know I've mentioned it before, but I heard it again during the week and I just love it. Heartbreak Beat by the Psychedelic Furs. That one I just included because I remember attending one of the free concerts. Not this past summer, of course, but last summer. I'm pretty sure it was last summer. Maybe it was the summer before. But it was a free concert. Can't remember who opened, but it was a pretty cool opening, like reggae act. And I really enjoyed it. And just hearing their classic songs and some of the newer ones, it was very, very cool. Which reminds me of the Prince tribute band. You know, I gotta remember to talk about that next week because I feel like I've just been running on and on and on a little too long. Let's see, What Is Hip by Tower of Power. I feel like I mentioned that one before, but again, it was on my radar. My Cleveland Heart, it's a new one by Jackson Browne, which, liner notes about that, he wrote while he was driving around in Cleveland, and I don't know if this was a recent driving around or if this was like years ago, although as I understand it, the last time that he was in Cleveland was sometime in 2019, but he was there at this place. It's one of the music venues called the Grog Shop, which is in Cleveland Heights, unless they moved it. But he was there for I think like either it was like a tribute or it was a memorial service for, I think it was somebody who was very instrumental in getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame off the ground. But I can't remember that person's name, so my apologies for that. So Jackson Browne was driving around Cleveland, and I think he was with one of his other musician friends at the time, or a co-writer, and that the writer pointed out, like, oh, hey, that's where Cleveland Heart is, or, you know, something like that. And basically it's this place where I think they manufacture the artificial hearts for the Cleveland Clinic. So he's like, oh, my Cleveland Heart. And that's how the song arose or came about. Brimful of Asha by Corner Shop. Again, that one is another that I believe I mentioned some weeks back or some podcasts back. But I just like it. I recall the music video with this little girl who was like playing, I think, 45s on this like little record player, but it looked like one of those like little plasticky record players that kids would have in order to play their records, not like a regular old like record player machine. Did I just say record player machine? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry. This song, it kind of reminds me of, it's that song, I remember, I don't know if this was like in syndication or if I saw it on like one of those, like on TV Land on Nickelodeon. Wait, no, was TV Land Nickelodeon? Yeah, TV Land was Nickelodeon. Something with like the Harper Valley PTA with Barbara Eden, I think it was Barbara Eden who starred in that. But there was a song called Harper Valley PTA, and I feel like it took the same like melody from Ode to Billy Joe. I think, because when I first heard the song, I was like, oh, is that Harper Valley PTA song? And then I was listening to it, I'm like, wait, no, that's not it. It doesn't sound right. So I happened to hear the song today, actually, and I listened to the lyrics for the first time, and I never realized that it was kind of a downer song, like a downer song with a good melody, but kind of depressing in a way. And I did more digging on that song because, I don't know, curiosity got to me. And I didn't know that the bridge in the song is, or actually was, because I believe it collapsed or it got burned, but it was feet away from the store where in 1955, 14-year-old Emmett Till supposedly whistled at a white woman and later was beaten to death, and his body was sunk in the Tallahatchie River. So, when you hear about that song, that bridge of that location is near that horrific event. And there you go. But one last song, because I don't want to end on a completely dour note, and I want to get you back on the upswing. It Shall Be by Spirit. I have never heard this song before, but it's very cool. And I was saddened to realize that, oh, this is an older song. I mean, not sad that it's an older song, but it's like, because of when it was written, I think it was 69? 67 or 69. One of the founding members, and I believe the lead singer, has since passed away. I think he passed away sometime in the 90s, I think. But in this song, like, I can hear many different styles in that one song. Like, it's very chill, and it's vibe-like, it's haunting, and possibly sexy, and it's a really good song. At least I really like it. And then doing a little bit more investigating, the original lineup, or at least like either they were together for 5 years, or the original lineup was together 5 years. But I'm pretty sure that the band was only together for 5 years. Their bio is definitely super, super long, and they just had a bunch of talented and like they were like talented musicians, and they had like such an eclectic style musically. And I think because they could play anything and everything, and they included that on their albums, I believe that's why they didn't gain traction. And they ranged in ages too. I think from like 16 to like maybe 50 or 60 something. So like the age range was a range, and even their musical styles just ranged as well. And to me, they sound like an awesome group, and probably just ahead of their time, like way too ahead of their time. And they couldn't be easily packaged, but people who enjoyed music, I believe, kept them afloat and kept them going. And so yeah, check that out. It Shall Be by Spirit. Well worth listening to. And with that, I am going to go, and hopefully I can, yep, sounds like things have gotten quiet, so I don't have to worry about hearing other noises from other places. So hopefully they weren't so loud that you could hear it through the podcast, but such is life, and that, I guess, is what helps along the circle of life. So with that, enjoy your golden hour, and thank you so much for hanging out. And if you want to see a picture of my peeping squirrel, go ahead and check out my YouTube page. You can catch that along with current and past podcasts and other various random silly clips on my YouTube channel, which is Mari's Golden Hour. And with that, I bid you adieu and enjoy your golden hour. Ciao.